Vanity of vanities. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. The literal translation in Hebrew of the word that is translated vanity is something more like actually futility. Things are futile. Almost the images of vapors, of wind. That we spend our days chasing the wind only. Futility of futilities, he writes. All is futility. It's not an easy message. Goes against my own grain, actually, pretty intensely. It was hard to even pray with these words this past week in preparation for this morning. But this is a writer who knows how to get it all out there. And maybe if I begin to see my life, if you begin to see your life through his piercing eyes, it might leave us with something we need to think about. He's putting forth the pathos of the human condition. He's saying, life pretty much sucks. And then you die. Who is this guy? Well, let me tell you, he was a king, and he was an old man, a very old man who lived long enough to tell us of it all. He writes from the vantage point of great privilege. He's seen a lot, and he found it lacking. There's nothing to any of it, he says. Not your possessions, not even your relationships sometimes, because they come and go. People die and leave you. Not even your education, actually. You can work so hard to bring your kids up so carefully, but they still might eat up their inheritance foolishly. And if a king can find nothing more than futility in life for himself, what hope is there for the poor? Look at the U.S. We are arguably the richest and the most technologically advanced nation in history, with global information systems that are just a mouse click away. And yet we are still so unsatisfied. There's something terribly wrong. Drive down any highway out of any city in America, and you will see billboard after billboard after billboard, all promising that their product has the substance finally that we're longing for, that we need to be happy. Has God perpetrated a cruel hoax on us and created for us a hopeless and a hapless life? Are we just chasing the wind here? The outcomes of our work, of all the blood, sweat, and tears we put into our work, is totally outside of our control. We work so hard only to pass it on to another at some point and then be forgotten. Our work is often so monotonously repetitious. All things prove so empty. Nothing has substance. You name anything, any good, any relationship, any work, any product of your hands or minds that will last. It all evaporates like a wisp of smoke. There is no solid ground. Everything is fleeting and short-lived. Everything. Is he tormenting us? Or is it life that torments us? His claim is so scary because, if we're honest with ourselves, we know how true it is. And we're desperate to not find it to be true. People ask me a lot to pray for special intentions on their mind or their heart. I am truly grateful for any invitation to pray. And it's a powerful experience of what matters to you, to hear what's on your mind or heart. And just this past week, somebody asked me to pray for something that caught right in my throat. It was for a young couple. They were struggling in their marriage because they were facing infertility issues. I don't know if you know anybody like that, but they are everywhere. And it's excruciating to not bear a child if you counted on it, planned on it, dreamed of it. It was hard on their lives, hard on their marriages. They decided eventually to adopt. They did, after another long period of time, adopt 2 beautiful children. They brought those children into their homes for 2 years. And then the mom, a young woman, got cancer and died. The dad is left to raise these 2 children alone. It caught in my throat because it's just one dream after another shattered. How long do we live like this? I pray for that family even at this Mass today. It's not this writer who torments us. It is life that torments us. And we just don't want to believe that it could be this meaningless. There's always this moment of queasiness, when we ask ourselves, what's it all for, really? I remember just this past summer, the words of Hamlet that rang out in Forest Park just a few weeks ago. How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of the world, Hamlet proclaims. All our struggles to secure ourselves, to guarantee a great future for ourselves, are futile. We keep forgetting that everything that exists is indeed insubstantial in itself. Its only substance is from God. Its only substance is connected to the source who is alone substantial. Period. This author is giving us the challenge to face the hard questions of life that I, for one, would rather not have to look at. The complicated realities, the intense joys, and the searing sorrows. You and I, he is saying, live with a box of Kleenex in one hand and a glass of wine in the other. Tears and toasts are the stuff of life. And the stuff of faithfulness to life is to let these gusts of delight and these gusts of sorrow touch us so that we can feel them all, to feel it all with the intensity that is its due. His solution. You might think it's foolish. His solution. Yet, he might be on to something, and definitely, if it's the revealed Word of God, it's worth thinking about. His solution is this, and I'm going to share it with you in the words of a Sufi poet from the 13th century. This would be what Koheleth, this old king, is saying. If of thy mortal goods thou art bereft, and from thy slender store 2 loaves alone are left, sell one, and with the dole buy hyacinths to feed your soul. In other words, the poet is saying what this old man says looking over his life. My friends, Take delight here and there along the way, along the day. Even if you just have a few pennies, use part of them to buy a hyacinth and put it on your desk or in the coat lapel. Sit on a beach ball at your law office. Get what enjoyment you can while you can. I ran into an alumni a couple weeks ago, graduated from the CSC in WashU about 10 years ago now. And I asked him what would he do differently from his days here. And he said, one of the things he commented on, actually, the first thing he said was how he wishes he could get back his senior year in college. He wishes he could get back his senior year. And I said, why? And he said, Gary, I spent that whole year worrying about the future. I spent my whole senior year in college answering questions about my future, about what job I was going to have, how much money I was going to make, what grad school I was going to go to, what city I was going to live in. And he said, I want to do it over because I want to sit back and enjoy it. I want to enjoy what I didn't let myself enjoy that senior year. Enjoy it and not be so anxious. Plans are good, but never at the cost of the joys and the pleasures of the present moment. Never. That's what this old man is telling us. He can't get back, this young man, his senior year. We can't get back our lives. But we can change them right now. And in the midst of the drudgeries, everything we hate to wake up to in the morning, with the few pennies that we have, we can buy a tiny, tiny flower and put it on our desk. Or right here on a coat and smell it. Then and again during the day. We've all heard the old saying, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. This writer is saying, that might not be as superficial as you think. It might be the stuff of a gift. Far from being superficial. It might keep us from that moment on our last day with our last breath, saying it was all for nothing. Futility of futilities. All was just futility. I was only chasing the wind.